as a part of our salary survey campaign, for which we came together in this partnership, we're all offering a consultation package, and I thought it would be great if we could all talk about it for a few minutes. So anyone who's listening and who would like to become the winner from the employer side will know what the first prize is about, and what is it that they can gain simply by participating in this competition, filling out the salary survey, and interacting us on our post with a comment or a like. So I'd like to ask you all to just share in a few words, what is it that you can offer as a part of this consultation package as a main prize for the one lucky winner?
Johnny, you want to go first?
Well, I promise I won't smack you in the back of the head, and I won't throw water at you.
I mean in a positive sense.
So I think, my experience, what I'm good at is my parents are a history major and an English major. So I'm an engineer. So for my entire life, I've had to explain to smart people what something out of the engineering world means. So I'm usually very good at kind of seeking that clarity or the message that, a company might need to talk to. So from the early stage companies, it might be that kind of level of support. Because what we see oftentimes is with the newer companies, they're still trying to understand what it is their value proposition even is to the market, and how do they need to tell that story. To the more seasoned companies that are out there, it probably falls more to maybe it's help with qualification and certification type issues, or into the training space and how they need to think about their organization. So probably somewhere bouncing between Nick and Jan, we will come up with a very comprehensive picture. But my guess is that would be kind of the areas that we could help.
Awesome. Nick or Janne?
I can go next if you want.
Yes.
So going back to my Napster story and how many companies sometimes need that wake up call, or they don't see what's coming next. So what I can really offer help on is most companies, again, they're very linear minded and they're trying to incrementally improve what they have, and they're investing money in innovation, but very few invest money in the creativity in a way that finding, what if you were to spend as much time on finding those ideas that will make you obsolete in the future. So I will promise you that I will find you a concept that will make your company obsolete in the future, and an area where you should be looking at. So you can pick any industry, and I will find that concept within your organization.
And you also wrote a Forbes article about it.
I indeed did, and it's actually a very simple way of doing that, and how to invest your effort into ideas that will make you obsolete. So I will find you that concept that will make you obsolete, and in many cases that will also then become a better business model for the organization, or even maybe a little spin-off, at least for the start. But hopefully those kinds of ideations can kind of put a smile on your face and see the world through a different kind of lens.
Well, and I might just say, if 2020 has a silver lining, if this isn't the year to ask the question about
that question, exactly,
doing the right thing, I mean, it's giving you every excuse that you could imagine to say.
It's ironic, because we have so many concepts that we have actually, even for ourselves, that we were like, what, let's what's the word again, where you promise, do what you say and reap what you sow, is it the saying? Yeah, so we've had to kind of prove it to ourselves, we had to disrupt ourselves, we did not expect this. And I give you an example. So one of our ventures is in ice cream, and we've been working on this for a number of years now, and this year it's going to be a very big break for us on the concession world. So we started from a very, very small numbers that we can produce, and we've been growing and being able to prove that we can produce certain amounts. And this year was all going to be about theme parks, zoos, aquariums, all those places where you have completely, event space, it's packed with people, and we have concepts to be sold in those areas. We had a whole spring lined up, great business, and I'm like, this is going to be amazing year. Revenue zero. So how are you going to, lift yourself up? And that forced us to then disrupt ourselves and find different applications. And we're right in the middle of it. And I will be doing a lot more social posts about that in the future. But yeah, living proof of that.
So on our side then, what we're going to do is this HR health check for a business. So this sort of comes in three parts, but the starting point is an assessment that we would do with the CEO of an organization. And depending on the size of the organization, if it's a smaller growing startup and doesn't have a robust HR function, or indeed any HR, which many companies we work with don't, it would predominantly be with the CEO. But if it's a larger company, for example, that wins the prize, then it will probably be with the CEO and an HR director or an HR manager, or at least somebody from the HR team. So we would start off with an assessment, and through a series of quite probing questions, we would understand where the business is and where the business is going. Off the back of that, we would produce a report that we would share with the business that would then give some perhaps actions that the business might take to become better organized, be able to perform better, more cost efficient in terms of how it deploys labor and talent within the organization, and also what its strategy might look like going forward in terms of how it grows and how it can develop a culture and a team that can be ultimately a winning team, based on the objectives of the organization. So that's ultimately the prize that we offer. But I would encourage everyone to complete the form anyway, because there's an intrinsic value to the whole industry for people to take part in this survey. When we started with this survey 5 years ago, there was nothing of its kind. And back then, we had a handful of companies we were working with that took part, and probably a couple of hundred candidates who filled out the survey. And every year it grows and it grows, and we get more data. And every year I get more and more feedback from companies saying, we love your report, we love the salary survey. Even now, 10 months on, people are still downloading the 2019 salary survey from the data that we collected last year. And we still get feedback that salaries aside and the information aside, it's the insights that it provides about the market that really do add value. So, whether you win first prize or, one of the runners-up prizes, there's definitely value in actually taking part, because ultimately you're contributing to something that has value for the whole industry. I think that's probably the greater motivator that people should be taking into consideration, despite the fact that we've got these collection of brilliant minds here with Jana and John willing to offer their time to a business, as part of the package of consultation that First Prize would get.
I remember when I used to work on the client side, I downloaded the salary survey because I had no clue about 3D printing, and it helped me so much as a person who was responsible for recruiting in Europe. I suddenly understood a lot about what I just said before about hiring intentions and demand skills, the salaries in the US and Europe, what's the difference. And then after that, I picked up the conversation with Nick and his team. And yeah, we've been working together for a year and a half before I joined his team. But this is really where I got most of my information. I learned a lot. And we really, really value both inputs. So it's really important. This is also why we're doing this campaign, to get input from both the employer and the employee side, so that we have a really strong study this year in our 5th edition.